All systems go. Cleared for takeoff.
What's up, everybody? We're back as usual, same time, same people, Nades and I, breaking down nice little 8-game slate. Pitching is absolutely loaded today. RDC paired by why is the Cubs total so high? Talking about weather. Yes, a little wind game in Wrigley. Haven't had too many of those this year, but that is why the Cubs total is a little higher than you'd think. Good pitching slate, pretty tough at bats. Pretty concentrated ownership, though. No Coors Field on the slate like the past couple of days. They were in the early slate. Hope everybody out there having a good start to your early slate. Nades was tilting the Twins a little bit, talking about how he had the 3-man yesterday. Polanco Kepler got it done today, not yesterday. But, hey, Big Daddy Wallner. There we go, Big Jeff. Big Daddy Wallner. Grand salami. That ended up working out. Nate, throw it to you first, man. How's your thoughts on this 8-game slate? How was your Wednesday treating you?
Yeah, Wednesday's going good. Got a nice workout in. Hit some golf balls on the range. Played at Brown this morning before got some emails and some work in. Like I said, I went to the gym over lunch hour. Hit a couple driving range balls. Going back out to the course tonight. But yeah, little tilting to see Polanco and Kepler both hit a bomb today. Day early. I did have my guy Wallner. I've been on the Wallner train. Great call by you. Perks of being the host because I was going to go there, but went arm in arm with you on the Twins. Didn't get the job done, but nice little 8-game slate here. Pitching is loaded. And yeah, we got the Braves again on this slate against a pretty brutal pitcher and pretty weak pitching staff out there in New York. Obviously, the back half of that bullpen is pretty solid, but hey, if the Braves do what they do and get to Vasquez here, so it's going to be an interesting talking point. Do you spend up for the Braves or do you spend up for pitching? I might have something coming that's a little bit different than what I typically do here. So ready to dive in, ready to break it down. Looks like a nice little slate here tonight.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely an interesting one. Toga, did anyone play the early slate? Oh, yeah, of course. Always in the early slate streets. Ham, which goes, damn, Nades, life is tough. That's what I was saying, Ham. He's acting like, man, I got to hit some golfing early, range balls at lunch, back at the course later, softball tournament on the weekend. Oh, I mix in there, got to do a couple emails and work. Life is tough in the Nade streets. Hey, I can't talk one bit, though. That is definitely for sure. But who do we got in the YouTube chat before we break down this slate? A lot of familiar faces. Mike Carr, Tolga, Pair by, Bill B, Jackson here, Hamwich, Gator Nation, Jeff Coley, Sean B, Nymphu, Kobe, Jason in here, Jake as always, Dana, Jason, who else we got? Brock's in here as well. Richie Smalls, what is going on? Everybody talking about Wallner crushed that ball. Yeah, man, absolute deep center. No doubt about that. Got to find a couple Dong of the Day calls today, though. See what stacks we're on. Fun little slate. Justin Wahlberg, smooth in here. All we ask from you guys, as usual, you guys know the drill. Like button, subscribe button. Takes 2 seconds out of your day. Helps us out a ton. And if you want to be a member at SHIPITNation.com, no better time to get in. Blast off bundle 3, 2, 1 for the NFL season and all sports going on during that time. 6 months comes out about $53 a month from now until Super Bowl Sunday, and a little past the week after Super Bowl Sunday now. 6 months when you do join NFL content, projections, ownership, core plays, cash report, all of that good stuff to go along with MLB going on right now. NBA will be going on. Nate's got NHL covered. PGA, MMA still going on. That's 5-6 sports right there for a very low price, $53 a month. Can't beat that deal in the industry. That $59 a month right now is going to $69 a month, $699 a year starting September 11th too. So no better time to get in if you do join. Get in the Discord. And of course, got to shout out our partner sponsor, drafters.com. Head over to Drafters, get an account, use that promo code SHIPIT. They will match 100%, $20 all the way to $100. Big Marley and I did another best ball draft today on the channel. You can check out. Any other people came in. Apone came in. Durkee, Brian Durkee in here, Peter C in here. Appreciate all of you guys hanging out. Hope everybody having a great Wednesday so far. Let's talk some baseball, though. Get Nades. 9 games on this slate. We're just going to go 8K and above and then 8K and below. Don't think 8K and below will take too much time. A lot of the ownership will be concentrated in this upper tier. Gossman and Blake Snell are the chalk, the 2 highest owned pitchers on the slate. I'm seeing as the 2 chalkiest options. Think they will be the popular pairing. Blake Snell has not been good as of late, though. Does come in with the highest K prop. Best pitcher, extreme pitchers umpire behind the dish for Blake Snell, which he definitely needs. The walks have been up as of late, and we know the thing with Blake Snell, big arm, but also can be wild. Gossman been very good. Clayton Kershaw right below them. 67 pitches his last time out. That was last Thursday, I believe, when G. Rise and I were talking through the slate. Pitched very well, only 67 pitches, though. I'm expecting 75, 80. Not sure that's enough at 9.9K with the pitching slate this low. It's a probably pass for me just for the upside there. 5.5K prop only. Luis Castillo, love him. Always do. Very long leash, good control. 3rd highest K prop on the board. Aaron Nola, only 9K. Think we could see a pitcher's duel in Toronto. Charlie Morton, James Paxton, Reed Detmers round out 8K and above. So multiple pitchers up here, Nades. Break it down. What are you doing in this upper range?
Yeah, I will start with Kershaw. I just can't play Kershaw with the pitch count concerns at the price point. So that's the first guy I'm crossing off. Second guy I'm crossing off is Blake Snell. The walk, the control issues, I get it, right? Pitcher's ump, but pitcher's ump doesn't necessarily fix the guy throwing the baseball. So Blake Snell going to be 40-ish% owned with some control issues, a lineup that can get to you, right? They can hit the ball, they can steal bases, they can do manufacture and play the game of baseball. I mean, they've been pretty solid all year. So I'm out on those 2 right away. My preferred pairing is Kevin Gausman and Nola, stacking those 2 pitchers up in that game there in Toronto. I just think it's a pitcher's duo. I like both pitchers. Nola's too cheap at 9K flat, I think, personally. And Gausman, I mean, you could argue he could be 12K in this matchup, right? He's been good all season long for the most part. Going to throw 100-plus pitches. Gets a strikeout-happy Philly team. So I love those 2 a lot. Castillo, I think, is fine. He does have a pretty good matchup, does give up a little bit power and fly balls to the left side of the plate. And Kansas City does have some lefties here that can hit the ball and can get him in some trouble. I mean, Bobby Witt is absolutely in fuego right now at the plate. I mean, he's on fire. Salvi's starting to hit the ball. So I'm a little bit lower on Castillo. I do think he's a fine play. So if I had to pick 3 guys up in this range, it'd be Kevin Gausman far and away number 1 for me. Nola very close behind as number 2. And then my distant third would be Castillo. I'm out on Blake Snell. I'm out on Kershaw. I just can't do the pitch count concerns and the control issues when factoring in ownership there on Blake Snell.
Good breakdown. So no Reed Detmers, no Morton. Like, I think touch on Morton just a little.
You want 8K?
8K, yeah, all the way to 8K.
Okay. Yeah, so that's my bad missing that. James Paxton, I have a little bit of interest in. I just think 8.2K, you're looking for strikeouts. He's got a big strikeout arm. The only issue is right, these Nationals, kind of the same story. Don't strike out a ton. I mean, there is a strikeout bat in there. Stone Garrett, 40% strikeouts. So I think, if Paxton can strike him out 2 or 3 times, find a couple, maybe 4 or 5 more strikeouts in that lineup somewhere. I mean, I think he could do good. He hasn't been great, but he still has a 27% K rate on the season. Not going to get a ton of ownership. And 8,200, I mean, this dude was 10K earlier this year, and we were paying that. So 8,200, I mean, you can argue maybe $2,000 discount off of him due to his recent regression and, I guess, right, the matchup in Washington here, not the greatest strikeout matchup. So I actually do like Paxton a little bit. Charlie Morton, I'm not a Charlie Morton guy. I think he's fine. I don't love it personally. And then Reed Detmers against Texas. This Texas team just continues to hit the ball, continue to crush. They just scored 12 runs the other day off a lefty. I do think Detmers is a better lefty here, 29% or 28, percent strikeout rate on the season here. I just don't know on a shorter slate that I want to sign up for a pitcher like Reed Detmers against a very, very dangerous offense here. He's going to be unowned. So if you want a contrarian play, I would say Detmers is probably it at 8K flat. I mean, sub 5% ownership I'm seeing on him. But for me, it's really Kevin Gausman, Aaron Nola, probably James Paxton, Luis Castillo is the 4 that I rank up here. And that's kind of where I'm going.
Yeah, I definitely can't get to Detmers. Hasn't been good as of late. Not picking on this Texas team. The one that's interesting, I agree. It's 3 clear and away. It's Gausman 1. And of course, this is counting ownership. Like Chalkley Snell, with how bad he's been as of late. If he wasn't chalky, I mean, that's the slate. Last time he pitched, that's when you had interest because he wasn't chalky, low ownership pivot, didn't work out. But that's when you do play Blake Snell. When he's chalk like this with other good, viable pitchers on the slate, I'm not saying you have to cross him off, but he definitely falls on the list. It's Gausman 1 for me. It's Nola 2, Castillo 3. The interesting one for me in this range is Charlie Morton, though, because Nola's going to get a lot more ownership for 500 more. I think Paxton gets a good amount of ownership for 300 less. So he's in this dead range. Could come in like 10% own, something like that. And on a slate like this, I'm even seeing single digits in some places. He hasn't been as good of late. He's been walking guys. He's been hit around the strikeouts. Some games, yes. Some games, it's definitely not there. So it doesn't look great on paper, but outside a couple big bats for this Yankees lineup, it's not a lineup I'm worried about. Should have run support. Braves one of the highest team totals on the slate. We're looking at the umpires for these pitchers in the upper range. Like in Toronto, it's extreme hitters ump. Luis Castillo has an hitters ump. Charlie Morton has a neutral ump, but that's one of the better things we have in this upper tier. A lot of hitters ups up here. So I don't mind Morton. It's more of a game theory, but you can make it. Like I can make cases for it. Not too many scary bats outside Judge, Stanton. Some of these guys in the middle of the order for the Yankees should have the run support, can get the win, and a 10% ownership to get you different in this tier. I think I'd put Morton number 4. Scary with how he's been pitching as of late, but solid K prop, good amount of juice to the over at 5.5. But definitely Gausman 1, Nola 2, Castillo 3 in the upper tier for me. We'll touch 8K and below. Only a couple names I'll throw out. John Gray, the first one you got to talk about. He is going to get ownership if people do go below 9K even. I think a lot of people do go John Gray. Wouldn't be surprised if he comes in 3rd, 4th highest pitcher on the slate. Mackenzie Gore, I need you to talk about 6K. If there was anyone I was going to punt, it would be Gore down here. But I think we can mainly pick 2 guys, 8K and above, and go about it that way. I guess the last name, Dean Kramer, 7.1K. So Kramer, John Gray, Mackenzie Gore. Anything else you like 8K and below?
Yeah, one quick hitting on Nola and Morton. I'm seeing 3 to 5% ownership difference, so I would just rather find the $500 and go up to Aaron Nola.
I think it'll be 15 to be honest.
Really?
But yeah.
Really? Yeah, I mean it could be, but I'm also seeing people kind of shoving the chips in on John Gray. I mean, I'm seeing him pushing 30+% ownership. So between him, Snell, and Gausman, I mean, people want to play Castillo. They want to play Kershaw a little bit. They're going to play Paxton. I'm seeing Paxton being up there. So I just think the ownership difference, right, between Nola and Morton, I just don't think there's enough to go around. I could be wrong, but I'm seeing a couple different places have them within 3 to 5% of each other. Not that it makes a ton of difference.
I'll say your mute said if it's 3 to 5%, I would have almost no interest in Morton and love Nola that much. I think that is where ownership. If it's 15%. I think 10 to 15, which I think it will be. I think that's way too far. If it's 3 to 5, yeah, it's Nola all day. Morton, someone's talking about Morton walking too much lately. There's no doubt about that for sure. But yeah, what you have the ownership at should be the reason whether you play Morton or you don't play Morton or something like that. So go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of the reason on why I just chose Nola there. That's kind of ownership I was looking at. If it does come in like that, and hey, title, you got to lean on that. I definitely roll with it. I do think both are fine plays. I would just rather find the 500 for a better pitcher in Nola, in my opinion. But John Gray is interesting. I do like John Gray here. I know he's going to get ownership, but I already talked about it, right? He should have run support behind him. He's 6,900. Coming off back-to-back good starts. I mean, he's coming off an incredible start, right? So I think that's boosting ownership too. But it's also he gets this Angels matchup. I mean, 12th best strikeout rate on the matchup, including even the early games, right? This Angels team strikes out John Gray has decent strikeout numbers overall. Going to go out there. I mean, he limits hard contact. Again, should have run support. So I do like John Gray at 6,900. I think if you wanted to pivot off of him, I think I would go right to Dean Kramer, right? I targeted the San Diego lineup quite a bit with these Baltimore pitchers, Grayson Rodriguez in particular. I do think Dean Kramer is in play here. I mean, yeah, he's not the biggest arm. He doesn't have the Grayson Rodriguez type arm, but he still has right around league average in terms of strikeout rate. Does get hit a little bit harder, but man, these Padres still, I mean, there's strikeouts in this Padres lineup. So if you're looking for a direct pivot off of John Gray, find $200, go up to Dean Kramer, I think is a fine play. Mackenzie Gore against Boston. Man, I think I just not been a Mackenzie Gore guy, but he's 6K flat with a 27% strikeout rate against a team that strikes out right around 25%. I mean, Connor Wong, 33%, Cassis, 28%, 35% for Duvall, 30% for Devers with this confirmed lineup. Obviously, Story's in there. Pablo Reyes is in there. This lineup isn't the greatest. And Mackenzie Gore, 6K flat at home. I think he could punt to him. I mean, he's got a pretty healthy projection for all these guys in this range when you count. I mean, he's got a higher projection than Dean Kramer, and he's $1,100 cheaper. So if I had to pick just two guys down here, it'd be John Gray, number one for me, Mackenzie Gore, number two. And then if I did need a lower owned contrarian pivot, I think Dean Kramer would be it. But realistically, I'm trying to live in that top tier range. Pick two of those guys up at the top, two of those four. Because you can still make lineups fit pretty easy. I mean, the Cubs salaries are very cheap. You got the White Sox that have cheap. I like some of the cheap Royals against Castillo as contrarian pieces. So you can make lineups fit because overall the pricing at the top end on these pitchers is pretty soft compared to what it could be.
Yeah, there's only two pitchers I'd play. It'd be John Gray. It'd be Mackenzie Gore. If I had to pick one with ownership, I'd probably just save the 900, go all the way down to Gore. You compare the K props, pretty much the same, 5.5 for both, minus like 155 for Gray, minus 145 for Gore. So pretty much the same. I think Gray will be 2 times as high owned, something like that. So yeah, I don't love picking on Boston, but Gore, full punt. The Braves are in a good spot if you want to pay for them. They have big bats. The Rangers have a pretty high team total. Like if you want to play Gossman, Snell, and the Braves, you just can't play all the top guys. So you do need to save some at pitching. I think most people do double spend at pitching. So you do get on a little different build, going someone cheap. So yeah, Gore would be mine. Boston's on the road. It is good hitting weather though, but I agree. I think just staying 2 pitchers above, I guess I'll say 8.2K Paxton, since I don't like Reed Detmers. Pick 2 Paxton and above is how most of my lineups would be constructed. Ranking them, yeah, none of those guys down below. Crack my rankings. Gossman 1, Nola 2, Castillo 3, Morton 4, I guess is how I'll rank them. Definitely like Gossman, Nola, my 2 favorites, though, in that Toronto game. What about you?
Yeah, I'm going Gossman number 1 for me. Aaron Nola 2. I do have John Gray in my top 4, so I'll go John Gray number 3. And then my 4th one would be probably James Paxton is a lower owned contrarian guy up there.
Before we get on to bats, Sean B and Jason talking about the 2 pitchers in the Wrigley game, Clevenger and Assad. Well, so there's wind blowing out in this one. There's an 11 total. Cubs have the highest team total on the slate, above 6. White Sox pushing 5. Looks like during the game, 15-mile-an-hour winds blowing out. It's going to get to Assad. I don't think it's any good. No chance I can get there. Clevenger, not the same guy as years back with the K rate. And these Cubs, I like the lefties for the Cubs. They're going to get some ownership, but no way in this Wrigley wind game. Even if there wasn't wind, I doubt I get to either of these 2 guys on a loaded pitching slate. But anything you want to say about Assad or Clevenger before we go game by game?
Yeah, I'm not going to throw Clevenger. I mean, he's got a 50% fly ball rate over the last 30 days, and there's wind blowing out, decent weather overall in Chicago too. It's pretty, I mean, it's in the 70s with wind blowing out there. The ball should be flying, fly ball pitcher. I just can't do it. I mean, I get it. He's 5,700. Find $300 and get up to Mackenzie Gore if you're going down that cheap.
Richie Smalls, surprised Castillo wasn't in your top 4. He wasn't my top 4, so I assume you're talking to Nades. But Nades hinted a little KC contrarian stack, so I'm not surprised he didn't make it. I like Castillo over here, though. We'll go game by game. Again, we appreciate everyone hanging out. Appreciate if you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for us. Helps us out a ton, bringing you shows every single day on this channel. Game by game, Nades, 8 to talk about. Boston Red Sox, Washington Nationals, James Paxton, Mackenzie Gore, 85 miles an hour in Washington. I don't know, man. Paxton, the Nats are going to be unowned for sure. We always talk about it, though. You always talk about your boy Abrams. You can always play him. If I did go to these Nats, I would go 5 through 9 just because none of them are 3K or none of them are priced over 3K. I don't love Dom Smith, lefty, so probably would skip him. But Chavis has power, first base, second base eligible, pretty much free Ks. But if he does get a hold of one, that ball can go. Alex Call, cheap down there. Stone Garrett in the 5-hole, 2.9K. I don't hate some of these guys. Down below, Paxton strikeout numbers have dipped a bit. Other better spots on this slate, though. As far as the Red Sox, I guess it'd be same point that I just made about the Nats. Like, I'm not playing the Devers, the Story, the Turner. You can always play Story against a lefty, but I like other spend-ups more, and I like spending up at pitching. So if I do spend up for bats, like it'll be the Braves, it'll be other spots besides Boston. So maybe a couple of these guys in the bottom of the order. Russ Snyder batting leadoff at 2.9K probably gets a good amount of ownership because of that. So I guess I like the Nats mini stack cheap pieces more than I like the Red Sox. But overall, not my favorite game. What about you?
Yeah, not my favorite game. I definitely prefer the Red Sox side in terms of bats. Just power righties against Gore can give him some troubles. I mean, last 30-day numbers, just a 21% strikeout rate to the right side of the plate. Opposing batters hitting for 272 ISO from the right side of the plate with a 40% fly ball rate. So, I mean, fly balls come with Mackenzie Gore, especially power righties. I mean, that starts on the back of Justin Turner. I think Justin Turner is a great play tonight, especially as a one-off second base, bat second, guaranteed ninth inning at bats, 4,600. Rob Refsnyder, I mean, as soon as Gore exits the game and a righty comes in, he's going to get pulled out of that game. So you might only get 2 at-bats out of him. I always got to mention that, but he is 2,900 and does hit lefties very good. Bat and lead off. I think he's fine. Trevor Story, he hasn't looked great, but I mean, he is a righty, has power. And Gore struggles with power versus the right side of the plate. So don't hate him. Adam Duvall fits that script. Pablo Reyes is a punt cheap guy, second base, shortstop eligible, actually hits lefties pretty well. And he's 3,200. So I don't hate the Red Sox, prefer more as a mini stack, and I would stick to the power righties for sure. Definitely on the back of Justin Turner. And national side for me, not a ton of interest. I do have more interest in James Paxton than I do in the Nationals, so I'm not going to try and talk anyone into the Nationals. But, yeah, I mean, C.J. Abrams, his price continues to go up. Don't love it here, but, I mean, he's just he's kind of in that cheat code category, right? Can hit for power, will steal bases, kind of just does his thing, gets on base. So I don't hate it, but definitely prefer the Red Sox mini and the right-handed bats for the Red Sox.
Yeah, definitely not my favorite game. We prefer the other side a little bit, but cheap or nothing is how I see this game. Fill out, if you have a 5-man stack, you like your pitchers, got to fill out a couple spots, get away cheap in this game. Don't think it's crazy. Really good hitting weather. The second best hitting weather on the slate, one of the best hitting weather. Cubs probably the best with the win, but second or the hottest in Washington today. Keep it rolling. Next game on the slate. There's a lot of good hitting weather on the slate, actually. This is not one of them. Probably, I don't know. I didn't see roof close or not. Either way, no interest for me. Philly, Blue Jays, Aaron Nola, Kevin Gossman, 2 of our favorite pitchers, 7.5 total. If it beats me, it beats me. What about you?
Yeah, I didn't even look at this game for bats. I will call it out just for all the BVP guys out there. Castellanos and Kyle Schwarber have some BVP against Gausman. I'm not playing them, but if you want to and you're a BVP truther, you can do that, but it's not for me. I like Nola. I like Gausman. My top 2 pitchers on this game. I'm stacking them up. Hopefully it gets the job done.
Like it. Jacob Stubbs, what's up, man? Hope everything's going well with you, Jacob. New York Yankees, Atlanta Braves, Randy Vasquez / bullpen game taking on Charlie Morton. 80 degrees in Atlanta, 9.5 total. Yeah, I had some interest in Morton. I don't think these Yankees are – I probably prefer the Yankees as a 5-man stack if I do stack them, just because they'll be completely unowned A lot of cheap pieces in this order outside of Judge, like Stanton all the way down to 4-2. And you hope Morton just doesn't have the control as of late. He walks guys early, then you get the worst arms in the bullpen, guaranteed ninth inning at bat. So I think I like the Yankees more as a 5-man than a 3-man, even though I don't like them that much. I'm Team Morton over the Yankees, but there is a path that I can see. Nobody plays the Yankees. Low-owned Yankees are on the optimal with 2 spend-up pitchers. As far as the Braves side, I don't know how you don't like them. Everyone above 4K except Nicky Lopez and Eddie Rosario there. It is a righty to start, but 2 innings, 3 innings max probably for Vasquez. Then you get the bullpen game. Can play 1 through 9 for sure, but a lot of them are expensive and not too many cheap pitchers that I love. So just think about it. If you're 5-man stacking the Braves, more than likely most teams will have one of Gore or John Gray. So if you somehow stack 5-man Braves and don't play either of those 2 guys, little thing like that to get different. It's a lot easier said than done, though, because not great pitching options, but it's hard to double spend and stack 1 through 5 on the Braves. In a vacuum, though, yeah, top stack again. They haven't been breaking the scoreboard, breaking it open by any means, but they have had homers. If you've had the right guys that went deep, they haven't killed you the past couple of days. What do you see in this one? Atlanta and the Yankees.
Yeah, I do like the Braves here. Same story, different day. Basically is how it goes here. But I'm prioritizing pitching tonight. I have been prioritizing bats, and particularly Atlanta. Tonight I'm prioritizing spending up at pitching. Like I said, Nola, Gosman, Castillo I think is fine, even though I'm a little bit lower on him. Morton's fine up there, Paxton, those guys. So I do like that route. I mean, I think you could do a 3-man Brave stack and get away with spending up at pitching. Travis d'Arnaud is my favorite Brave down there in the 7 hole. I just think he goes overlooked. I mean, the dude has a 320 expected ISO against right-handed pitching at home this year. Might get 2 at-bats against Vasquez, and then whoever comes in out of the pen. I mean, he can hit lefties too. I don't mind that. So I do like Travis d'Arnaud quite a bit. I think he goes overlooked at 4,200. Hitting 7th in this lineup. Arcia, Nicky Lopez, Rosario. I mean, 1 through 9 is firmly in play, but Travis d'Arnaud definitely stood out to me, so I like him quite a bit. And yeah, on the Yankees side, no real interest. I mean, if you do play them, I definitely agree 5-man stack them because you're just betting on Charlie Morton having walk concerns. And usually when a pitcher starts walking a lot of guys, what do? They gear back into their fastball and they just start locating pitches. They have to climb back into accounts, and these guys just start waiting on the fastball. And when Aaron Judge is sitting back and Stanton are sitting back waiting on a fastball, bad things can happen quick. So I would 5-man them. Just hope Morton is just off his game, but definitely like other offenses a lot better on the slate. But yeah, Braves definitely. If you're spending down at pitching, the only reason I would do it, double spend down at pitching, is to go up to these Braves, and then just worry about what your secondary stack is. Don't go in there and play the Cubs or the White Sox with a 5-man Braves, John Gray and Mackenzie Gore, because then you just built the same team everyone else did. So just make sure you play it differently, but I definitely do like them.
Yeah, I don't think the Braves by any means are going to be the highest owned stack of the slate, but I just think when people do play the Braves, it's going to consist of one of Gray or Mackenzie Gore. Maybe people go like a Paxton, Morton, something like that. I think that's a good way to get different, but more than likely, more than 50% of team 5-man Brave stacks has one of Gray and Gore is how I see it. So yeah, I mean, I like the Braves for sure. And again, I think there's other more popular teams on the slate. This next game we'll talk about. So if you can fit the Braves, play the Braves. And I definitely like the Braves myself. So Nate is in agreement. Couple games left on this slate. Again, we appreciate that like button. Takes a second out of your day. Helps us out a ton over here. And if you're not a member at SHIPITNation.com, 3-2-1 blast off bundle. Won't find a better price. 6 months from now, Super Bowl Sunday. It's like a week after Super Bowl Sunday now if you sign up today. All the sports, $53 a month. NBA, NHL, PGA, MMA, MLB going on right now. Of course, NFL. No better deal. And when you do sign up for that bundle, you also get 4 hours of Tambo and Hoop discussing NFL strategy, everything you need to know. Live finals, Millie Makers, Showdown, anything you want to know about. If you don't have much time, it's all broken down into segments too. If you just want to hear Hoop's Millie Maker thing, click on that button, click on Millie Maker. You can listen at 1.5x speed, 1.75x speed. I'm always a 1.5x guy myself. Time goes by faster. Make sure to get that 4-hour piece of content. Will be $59 a month after September 11th. Get it for free with that bundle. No better time to join SHIPITNation.com. Nades, Wrigley game, man. Win game. Chicago White Sox, Chicago Cubs, Mike Clevenger, Javier Assad, 80 degrees. Wind looks to be blowing out 10 to 15 miles an hour. And, of course, that is important. Wrigley Field plays the most for a win, or at least win impacts the game the most at Wrigley. Just like the Giants, it could be 25 miles an hour, but how the stadium's built, it does not do anything. People were talking about Clevenger. I mean, lefties can get to Clevenger, and you look at these Cubs: Tauchman, Ian Happ, Cody Bellinger, Candyman. Plenty of lefties in this order. Dansby Swanson always got pop. I prefer the Cubs side for sure. I think that's where ownership will go, but ownership's going to go on both sides of this because White Sox, one of the higher team totals on the slate, and outside of Luis Robert, they're all free. Nobody is above 3.1K, and that's Tim Anderson leading off. So White Sox are free on a slate. People want to spend up at pitching. They're going to fit a lot of teams. I guess at the end of the day, I'll say White Sox, I don't really have interest because I think people are going to go there and they'll be over-owned. I do like these Cubs, though, no doubt about that. Going back to the lefties, what about you?
Yeah, Cubs are my favorite stack of the day, and the White Sox are coming in higher owned than the Cubs, and you nailed it, title. It's because of their price tags. If you look at the lineup, the Cubs, the bats you want to play are mid-4s and 5K. You look at the White Sox, everyone in that lineup is under 4K, 3K or under. When you have expensive pitching and good matchups, good pitchers, umpires, everything checks out. People are just going to play the 5-man stack, these White Sox guaranteed 9th inning at bats, win game in Wrigley against a bad pitcher, and you're going to have the same team. So give me the Cubs in this one, and particularly the lefty fly ball hitters. Ian Happ over the last 30 days has a 41% fly ball rate against the pitcher giving up 50% fly ball rate. Love Ian Happ, love Christopher Morel, even though he's from the right side of the plate. He's a fly ball guy. Nico Horner has been a fly ball guy. Will steal bases, has been good as well. Tauchman, Bellinger, Candyman. Love all those guys. I mean, they all have a 24% plus fly ball rate over the last 30 days in very, very significant sample size. So give me those guys. Love the Cubs 1 through 9, I think, are in play. Definitely prefer the lefties. So, I mean, Tauchman, love him leading off. Ian Happ, Bellinger has been absolutely on fire. Candelario, I think, goes a little bit overlooked, 4,700, hitting down there in the 7-hole. I like him quite a bit. So, yeah, Cubs, my favorite stack of the day against Clevenger. I get it. Clevenger has been fine, but, I mean, he's still – last 30 days, 18% strikeout rate with a 47% fly ball rate. So, I'm still going to take my chances. Win game in Wrigley, and they fit my team. So I love the Cubs. White Sox, I'm going to be off the White Sox here and just hope they don't beat me. It's been a while since the White Sox have beat me. So if they beat me, they beat me. I'll let everyone else play the White Sox tonight.
Yeah, I mean, they're just so cheap and they fit the roster construction. Like Tim Anderson, like the top of the order is definitely going to be played. If I had to play anyone, Mancada, Grandal, pick out power that way at weak positions, but everyone's going to get ownership there. Cubs will get ownership too, but yeah, I like the spot a lot more. Nico Horner, man, on-base machine. Pull up that game log, swinging a hot stick. Don't mind Seiya Suzuki down there as well in the 8th spot. Tucker Barnhart fills out catcher for free, switch hitter. So yeah, 1 through 9 for the Cubs for me. Don't love the White Sox nearly as much. A one-off or something, power hunting is how I'd approach it. 4 games left, Nate. Keeping it rolling. Los Angeles Angels, Texas Rangers. Reed Detmers, John Gray on the mound. Texas got about a 5-point, a little higher than a 5-team total. Angels a little below 4. The Rangers, man, people aren't going to, like Corey Seager, another double dog yesterday. This whole lineup, absolutely insane. When they're healthy like they are now, it's dangerous. 1 through 9, you can play them. I don't think the Rangers are played a lot either. Dolis Garcia, 5-4, Low, 4-5, 6-3 for Seager, 5-8 for Semien. If people do spend up, they're going to either want to go the Bellingers of the world, Dansby Swanson, or they're going to want to go to some of these Braves, kind of like we talked about yesterday. So I think the Rangers probably come in a little underowned. Good with them. As far as the Angels, people are asking in chat, I believe, let me get the name. Andrew Martinez, thoughts on stacking the Angels against Gray. I think he gets, like, if he's 30% owned, which sounds about right to me, you get enough leverage that way against not even close to an all-star pitcher. I mean, he's getting ownership for the nature of SP2 and punting stinks. He's the only guy that's viable down there, really. So guaranteed ninth inning at bat. You can always play Ohtani. If I did stack the Angels, would definitely play Ohtani. I think you can muster up definitely a mini stack. I'm not sure I love the 5-man as much. What are your thoughts? Angels, Rangers.
Preferably, I think I'd rather get. I think it's fine. It's just John Gray. I think he's going to have run support. He's going to be pitching loose. He's pitching good right now. In the last 30 days, I mean, he's still got a 25% strikeout rate with an ISO under 100 for opposing bats, both sides of the plate. So I would rather go to someone like I'm going to talk on the Royals in particular. I mean, the Royals are starting to hit the ball right now. Have quite a few lefties in there. Castillo struggles a little bit with power to the left side of the plate. I think that's where I would go. It's just I would rather just not play. If you're looking at that, I would rather just not play John Gray and just go with a different roster construction versus trying to double leverage here with a team that's kind of scuffling a little bit. So I don't love it personally. Obviously, you can always play Ohtani. I think that goes without saying. Moniak, I think, is fine against the righty there, batting 1-2. So a little mini stack there I don't hate, but I just can't play the rest of these guys. I mean, it's bright red in terms of expected ISO against right-handed pitching on the road this season for these Angels. So I want home runs in baseball. I can't do it personally. But again, it's an 8-game slate. If you have a gut instinct, by no means do I get everything right or Tito, do we get everything right? So if you have a gut instinct, it's baseball. Go with it. Personally, I'm not going to do it. On the Rangers side, I love the Rangers here tonight. It's just a matter of, do you have the money to pay for them? I mean, it's one of the best offenses in baseball in terms of run production, everything, home runs. Corey Seager, I mean, the dude is just a complete stud. I brought him up the other day as an elite one-off. He hit a home run then, hit a double dong last night, lefty here. Good chance he takes Detmers deep again here tonight because Detmers in his limited sample last 30 days on the left side of the plate. Lefty have hit him for a 540 ISO. So Seager can hit left-handed pitching. I think he makes an excellent one-off again here tonight if you can afford him. Should go lower owned at 6,300 lefty. I like him. Adolis Garcia, Mitch Garver, lefty smasher in there. Jonah Heim, I think, is fine. Zeke, got to bring my guy Zeke Duran back up. He's 3,900 against lefty. Love him. So the Rangers, if you can afford them, I love them. I prefer the Braves a little bit, but the Rangers are a little bit cheaper than the Braves. So might get you up from like a John Gray pitcher to maybe that upper 8K range or the Aaron Nola at 9K. That might be the difference in terms of a 5-man stack. So if that's the case, definitely put the Rangers ahead of the Braves if it allows you to spend up more at pitcher. So like this game quite a bit for the Rangers side.
Yeah, no, I like the Rangers too. I mean, we've talked about, like, I like the Braves that we've talked about so far. I think Nats mini could be sneaky. Definitely don't like Blue Jays, Philly spot. I think White Sox are overowned. I do like the Cubs, Rangers the other spot. So yeah, Rangers, Braves, Cubs right now with some cheap minis in there, but those teams are expensive. So we got 3 games left. I know you like some of this game. Kind of, I don't know. Seattle Mariners, Kansas City Royals, Luis Castillo. Going to be Alec Marsh looks to be the long reliever in this game. It's going to be this Mick Arthur guy. He goes an inning. Alec Marsh, and then bullpen game after that. 85 degrees in KC, wind blowing out. I think the Mariners probably come in. It's Cubs, White Sox, Mariners, I think, all grouped into one as the chalkiest teams on the slate. Wouldn't be surprised if the Mariners were the chalkiest on the slate. Alec Marsh, no good. Bullpen, not good. Good hitting weather, guaranteed 9th inning at bat. And this team's just so cheap. I mean, coming off a monster, Teoscar Hernandez yesterday, 32, 5 for 32 DK points, 5 for 5. Outside of Julio Rodriguez at 5-3, though, this team's cheap. Good catcher in the heart of the order in Cal Raleigh. Bottom of the order is pretty much free. Like, I just think this team gets a lot of steam. And if I'm going to eat chalk, I'd much rather eat it with the Cubs. Braves, like I said, probably come in lower owned. So these Mariners are falling the same boat as the White Sox. I think they're fine plays, but I think they're over-owned, and I'd rather take a shot in some of these other teams, whether it's Texas, Atlanta. I like eating the chalk more with the Cubs, even maybe the Padres or the Dodgers later. So I say Mariners over-owned, no thanks to me. I'll let you touch on the Royals. I like Castillo, but you've had a hunch on them, and they grade out pretty well in our hitter rankings, some of these guys. So what do you see?
Yeah, I like these lefties for the Royals. I mean, Castillo, yeah, he got a great strikeout rate to the left side of the plate, 37.5, but he's also got a opposing ISO 256 to the left side of the plate with a 51% fly ball rate. Looking at the last 30-day numbers for these Royals, I mean, Drew Waters has a 50% fly ball rate. The dude is free, 2,400 with power. Think he's an excellent play. I like him down there in the 7 hole. I like MJ Melendez at 2,700. He's got a 35% fly ball rate over the last 30 days. So he can get the ball up in the air. And then Michael Massey can do the same. He's 2.8K. All three of those bats are sub 3K, all have power, all hit from the left side of the plate. They're seeing the ball well right now. I mean, Massey's got a 20% strikeout rate against right-handed pitching so far in the year at home. Melendez is a little bit higher at 26%, but that's still not crazy. Drew Waters at 23% strikeout rate on the year against right-handed pitching. I think some of these lefties from Kansas City get to Castillo here tonight. That's why I'm lower on Castillo. Wind blown out, it looks like, too, in Kauffman Stadium. Decent weather. I think some of these Royals, this Royals mini stack gets the job done here tonight. I like Melendez, Drew Waters, Michael Massey. You can always include Bobby Witt. The dude's locked in at the plate right now. I think he's fine. Beatty, I don't love him, but he's free, 2,200. I mean, these guys are just cheap with power. So give me the lefties, the Royals lefties against Castillo here. On the Mariners are projected to be the highest owned stack on the slate by a decent margin, even ahead of the Coors or not Coors, the Wrigley Field win game. Feels like a Coors game with the ownership that's going there, but I think they're fine. But I do think that ownership is even more inflated after last night, what they did last night, right? I feel like everyone in their lineup 1 through 9 hit a bomb last night. It's baseball. Recency bias is huge in baseball. Again, Hall of Famers fail 7 out of 10 times. Is it crazy to say these Mariners come out here and lay an egg tonight, even against a shitty pitcher? It's not crazy. I do think they're fine. I prefer them more as a mini stack. Like I said, I like the Cubs more. I like the Braves, Texas a lot more. And I like these Royals as a mini stack even more than these Mariners. So kind of lower on the Mariners, but I do think they're fine against Alec Marsh. I mean, 23% strikeout rate, but double-digit barrel. Expected ERA numbers are high, so they're fine. It's just they don't have great numbers on the road this season against right-handed pitching from our metrics over here. So I'm just going to be a little bit under on them, especially with them being the chalkiest team on the slate.
Yeah, lockstep here. The more I look at the slate, more I talk through it. It's 3 clear teams: Cubs, Braves. Cubs, Braves, and Rangers for me are my 3 favorites. Don't even love these rest of these 3 games, but throw in some of these Royals. You like them for cheap minis. Some of these cheap Nats at the bottom for minis. I don't think the Yankees are the craziest, but I think Morton's interesting as a low-owned GPP pivot too. That's a game I could go both sides on. Some Yankees stacks, some Morton if I'm playing 20 teams or more. But yeah, definitely Cubs, Braves, Rangers for me. See if you have any interest. 2 games left. Baltimore Orioles, San Diego Padres, Dean Kramer, Blake Snell, 80 degrees in San Diego, got an 8 total. Blake Snell, one of the highest owned on the slates. I guess I don't think the Orioles are crazy because we know Blake Snell. I mean, he's going to be one of the chalkiest on the slate, if not the chalkiest. When it's bad for him, it goes real bad. Again, I think the Orioles or Angels. I'm going to ask you that if you had a mini Orioles or Angels against a relatively popular pitcher in Gray or Snell. Curious to hear your thoughts there. I'd probably lean the Orioles and just hope it is Blake Snell that can't find the zone one bit, and these Orioles got some pop. As far as the Padres, there's much worse pitchers to pick on than Dean Kramer. He's at least serviceable, pretty solid bullpen behind him. Not the best hitting park, not okay hitting weather, but other teams I'd much rather pay for the Padres. If I'm going to pay 5.9, 5.7, 5.1 for Tatis Soto Machado, give me Seager, Semien, Adolis. Give me Bellinger, Talkman, Dansby. Give me Acuna, Riley, Olsen. Like, there's just other spend-ups I'd rather. So I guess more interest in Baltimore for the leverage and hoping it's Blake Snell, but still don't love this game one bit. What about you?
Yeah, if I had to pick one, it'd definitely be the Orioles over the Angels for me. On the back of Ryan Mountcastle, obviously Ryan Mountcastle against the lefty, probably going to hit second tonight, sub 4K. The dude's got a 566 expected ISO against left-handed pitching in 50 plate appearances this year. That's great numbers. Like him, Adley Rutschman is fine, switch hitter there. Don't hate those guys. Santander, you can throw in there. Austin Hayes always against the lefty. So I definitely prefer the Orioles side. Still not one of my favorite games. Out on the Padres as well. Hitting on our guy Jake in the chat saying, I just don't know how Snell is going to be chalk. Every site I look at has Snell almost double-digit higher owned than every other pitcher on the slate. I mean, they have Snell approaching 40% in a couple different places, and I tend to agree. It's just the nature of the slate. You save a little bit of money off of Gausman. He's at home. He's got a 31% strikeout rate on the season. I just think the walks are going to be a concern there, I just think some of these Orioles can get to him. So I never like a chalky Blake Snell, but he is going to be probably the highest owned pitcher on the slate, at least from where I'm seeing a couple different spots.
Yeah, I put it up there. He has the highest K prop on the board by a good margin, 7.5, a lot of juice on the over. 6.5 with a lot less juice is the second highest. Always had one of the lowest team totals. He's at home, Pitchers Park. Blake Snell always grades out well because of the K upside. So yeah, he's definitely going to be chalky there. Last game of the slate again. Let's make a push to 100 likes. I think we can get 100, 175 watching. Surprise me. Get them up to 100. We'll give away the top 3 hitters in our rankings. And if you do want, head over to shipitnation.com. You want projections. You want ownership. Slate plan from Hoop. G Rising. Core plays for Hamwich. Nate's right here. Core cash cores for myself. FanDuel, DraftKings, everything you need to be successful. Questions in the Discord, access to us. Any questions you guys have, members, very knowledgeable members in chat. Use that Blast Off bundle. 6 months, $53 per month. NBA, NHL, NFL, MLB, PGA, MMA, projections, ownership, core plays, everything you need to be successful for one low price. That is going up to $69 a month, September 11th. Last game, Nades. Our Milwaukee Brewers taking on Los Angeles Dodgers. Wade Miley, Clayton Kershaw, 80 degrees. Wind blowing out a little bit in Dodger Stadium. I don't think the Dodgers are going to be low owned and have one of the highest team totals on the slate. So you want to get different there. Game theory wise, I think it makes sense. The same thing I'm going to say the whole season with the Dodgers, and why I don't like them nearly as much is because the bottom of the order is really tough to play. Because they got a lefty in today, Miley. So I'm expecting Chris Taylor to be in the lineup, Kiki Hernandez to be in the lineup, Rosario, Rojas. Then once a righty comes out of the bullpen, that's when you get the Outmans of the world, the Peraltas of the world. And the pinch hit risk for these guys down low is just tough to stomach. And as far as the guys up top, sure, always played Mookie, Freddie, Will Smith, JD Martinez, Max Muncy. But you want to go them? Do you want to go the Ranger studs? Do you want to go the Brave studs? Do you want to go Chicago studs? Like, you're paying for them at the end of the day, and I just rather go to the Braves or the Rangers. So I guess at that point, it's no thank you really to the Dodgers. They're going to be probably under-owned, though, so I get it as a late-night hammer. And as far as the Brewers against Kershaw, no chance. If I play anybody, hoping Tyrone Taylor cracks the lineup, 2.4K, always my boy there, but I'm not picking on Kershaw. So what do you see in this one?
Yeah, I still put the Rangers and I put the Braves ahead of the Dodgers. I prefer some of these Dodgers bats as more of a mini stack because you nailed it, right? The pinch hit risk with the cheaper guys in the lineup. Yeah, they're cheaper, but I mean, most of them are probably going to get 2 at bats, at least a couple of them. Because like you said, Peralta, Hayward, Outman, those guys are going to come in off that bench for Taylor, Rojas, Kiki. Those guys, they're going to swap around. Ahmed Rosario's probably safe because they did trade for him. He's kind of their everyday shortstop now, so I do think he's fine. But Mookie Betts, I think, is an elite one-off. The dude smashes lefties. Wade Miley can get hit. He's more of a game manager, so I don't really like stacking against him too much either. I mean, he just seems to go out there and kind of just get the job done, Tito, the journeyman there for the Brewers he has been. So Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, I think those two are fine. Always, obviously, every slate. Will Smith against the lefty, sure, but he is 5,700 at the catcher position. Pretty steep price to pay there. JD Martinez, Max Muncy, yeah, they're fine. But Mookie Betts, far and away my favorite Dodger by far. Prefer him as a one-off or a mini stack. If you can afford the mini stack, go him and Freeman because ownership doesn't matter with this team. I don't think nobody's really going to them at their price points. If they spend up, they're going to the Braves. They're going to Texas. Dodgers are kind of the forgotten team. I'm kind of in that same category. I'm going to be lower on the Dodgers here. And Brewers side, no chance I play any Brewers against Kershaw. The only guy I would is your guy, like you said, Tyrone Taylor. 343 ISO against left-handed pitching. Historically been a lefty masher. I think his first start when he was 2K came back against the lefty, and I'm pretty sure he hit a home run. Don't quote me on that, but the dude does have some power. He's a complete stud. I wish he was an everyday player for us, especially against a lefty. I mean, he's pretty much an everyday player against a lefty, but if he's in there, he's fine. Outside of that, not a ton of interest.
Yeah, man. 8-game slate. A lot more ways to go at pitching than bats, in my opinion. Talking bats, you guys know I'm my top 3, but it's definitely Cubs, definitely Braves, definitely Rangers. That's how I see it. Mix in some Nats for cheap minis. You like Royals, so I'll say some Royals for cheap minis. If you want leverage off of Snell or John Gray, you go to some Angels, Orioles. Yeah, not a game. I guess the Yankees would be like my 4th. If I had a 5-man stack, another team that'd be very low owned, I guess it's the Yankees. And again, though, I think Morton's really interesting for game theory leverage standpoint, right in the dead range between Pax and Nola, assuming he's going to be 10, 15% difference. If you think it's really close to Nola's ownership, like Nades would not touch Morton there. But yeah, the Yankees, I guess, would be number 4 as a very low owned 5-man, but definitely like the top 3 in their own tier. What do you see on the slate?
Yeah, I'm going Cubs number 1, Braves number 2, Rangers 3, and then Royals number 4 for me, the mini Royals. I'm going to be underweight on the White Sox and the Mariners. Those are the 2 stands I'm kind of taking. Underweight on the 2 chalkiest teams on the slate because I am eating some of the chalk at pitcher.
Let's go low-ish owned pitcher today. I'm going to go Morton. Again, I think he's going to come in like 10% owned. If you think he comes in 20% owned, I think Morton is a bad play. If he comes in 10 and Nola's 20, 25, Paxton's 20, something like that, should he be half the ownership? I don't think so. So give me Charlie Morton. Should get run supports, low owned. But again, I think Yankees, you play 20 teams. I'm not saying play Morton in a team and then the Yankees 5-man in the same team, but Morton in one team, another team, 5-man, Yankees, no Morton, something like that. I think we get a big outcome, whether it's Morton not on and he gets blown up early or Morton shoves it to the Yankees. That's a side I lean. 10%, can't pass that up. Low-ish owned pitcher needs.
I'm going off the ownership projections that we use over here and a couple different spots across the industry, and I'm seeing sub 15% ownership right now on Aaron Nola. If that stays true, I absolutely love Aaron Nola at 9K. In that game against Toronto, I love both pitchers in that one. Give me Aaron Nola at 9K, sub 15% for a big one.
Like it. Let's get Dong of the Daytime, and we'll get on out of here. Everything, all the content will be up shortly at SHIPITNation.com. A lot of it is up right now. Projections, ownership, stack rankings, hitter rankings, pitcher rankings, slate plan, core plays, everything you need to be successful. Head on over. Again, $53 a month, $321 for the next 6 months. Can't beat that deal. All sports included. That will be going $59 a month. Will be going up to $69 a month, $599 annually to $699 annually come football season, September 11th, with all the sports going on. Dong of the Daytime. Nades was chirping, complaining. Chirping's not the right word. Complaining a little bit. Host always goes first. Stole my bomb, blah, blah, blah. All right, Nades, I'm not going to hear shit tomorrow from you. You go first. You get a bomb. I'll give a bomb after. We'll go from there.
Well, I know you're not taking my guy tonight because I'm going to those Kansas City Royals. I talked about him quite a bit. It's 2,400, Drew Waters in the 7-hole, a little lefty against Mr. Castillo. He's going deep tonight.
I like it. You saved a little salary for me, too. I'm going a little, mixing it up. Cheap yesterday, up top a little today. Going to the Cubs. Going to a righty, though. Give me a little Dansby Swanson in the 5-hole to go deep. I think people will shortstop. Like Tim Anderson's only 3-1. There's multiple shortstops, like Seager's at that position. I think shortstop's pretty spread out when it comes to ownership. Dansby's ownership should be held in check. Has as much upside as anybody right in the heart of the order between the Haps, the Bellingers of the world that I think get some ownership and I do like. But favorite stack, shortstop, Dansby Swanson goes deep. Great stuff, Nays, as always. Appreciate everyone hanging out. Hope you had some fun during this show. Hopefully your early slate's going well. See some Ship It Nation logos up top tonight. Get in the Discord. That's where you can find us. Hit that like on the way out. Make sure to get your golf teams in tonight as well. Locks tomorrow morning. Hoop and Tambo. Everything you need at ShipItNation.com over there. Nades, have fun back on the golf course. Seems like your second home at this point. Hopefully you hit them well tonight. That'll do it for us, though. For Nades, I'm Titletown. Good luck, everybody.